All right, so we've gotten through a good part of the year and I am stepping up expectations a bit for the reading homework. So I just want to make sure that everyone was totally clear on what expectations were for our weekly reading homework. So I have up here the reading log form and the HOLT website. So to get everything that you need to log into the HOLT website. Go to my.hrw.com and you go ahead and log in. This is your regular username and password that you have at school, just like you use with Digitools, the one that you use to get on to computers at school. So you log on, you go to the online textbook, click on that, click on student resources. And then over here on the right side, you see Student Centers. Under Student Centers, you click on Literature and Reading. And then down to Analysis Frames, and that will open up a new tab. Most of the reading that we do is fiction, and so you're going to want to click on Core Analysis Frame for fiction. Some students like to do informational or nonfiction, and so if you do that kind of reading, then you're going to want to click on this frame. But for today, we're going to just do the fiction frame. And you see that brings up the core analysis frame for fiction. And it gives you some prompts for each of the literary elements. And we're just going to stay centered on 2 pages today. If you are doing a lit log, a literature log, you might want to look more in depth. But we're just going to be focusing on just the first 2 pages, the fiction frame. I did pass these papers out to everybody a couple weeks ago. So students should have those, but if they don't, you can get them from the HOLT website. Okay, so back over here. I've changed up the top a little bit, but there's nothing magic about this form. You can use an old form. You can use just a regular piece of paper. What I care about is the summary and the reading analysis, and that you've let me know a little bit about what you're reading. Parent signature is important. I'm going to be much more vigilant at making sure that parents get those signatures on there. Students will not earn any extra credit if they do not have a parent signature. And I will put points in for turning in the homework without a signature, but you will lose 5% of your grade, which is about 3 points from a 50-point assignment. All right, so you can see here I've done my summary. I just finished reading Anne of Avonlea, Lucy Maud Montgomery, and this was the night that I read it. I didn't put the pages down. I'm not as concerned about that as a teacher. This is more for student information, just so that you can see how many pages you read in a half an hour and try to read more fluently and get a few more pages. I read out of my Kindle and it doesn't really give you page numbers, and so I don't worry too much that you've got that filled in. What I care about is that you have your good 3-part summary. I just did bullets. You don't need to be writing a paragraph or more. It's just 3 quick bullets of what you read, beginning, middle, and end. And so you can see Anne decided to do some cleaning. Priscilla and Mrs. Morgan came to visit and discovered later she put red dye in her nose rather than cream. And this really got me thinking more about the characters. And so I went over here and I said, oh, analyze characters. That's what I want to be looking at. So I put analyze characters to show what it is that I'm analyzing. That's the bold heading here. And then you can look at the bullets here, the questions, and that will kind of help you analyze the characters. Who are the characters? What do you learn about them? And what ways do they react to other people? Why might they be acting that way? And how do they change? So I put Anne hates her freckles and puts the cream on to get rid of them. This is because of her vanity, and she learns not to worry so much about her looks as it has gotten her into trouble. That's all I need to do for my reading for this night. So I've read for 30 minutes, beginning, middle, and end, and I analyzed it. 5 points for the summary, 5 points for the characters. If I had any misspelled words, incomplete sentences, I'd lose a point or 2. But for this, it's all complete. 10 points for that 30 minutes of reading. Okay. Next day, again, another summary. And this time I wanted to examine the setting. So I put the heading on there, where, when, what effect does it have. The detailed description of the setting, especially Lavender's cottage, creates a magical mood. So I really noticed a lot of the description in that particular passage that I read really affected the mood. And 3-part summary. I have a complete sentence, 5 points for the summary, 5 points for the analysis, 10 points there. The next day again, I read another 30 minutes, 3-part summary. And this time I wanted to look at plot. What happens in the story? What conflicts develop, internal or external? What's the main conflict? How is the conflict resolved? Well, as I was reading, I noticed that each chapter seems to have a different conflict. In this chapter, it was that Lavender regrets that she never married Paul or Mr. Irving, Paul's father. That was important later, I discovered, but just for reading this, that's all that I put down for the plot. So 5 points for the analysis, 5 points for the summary. There, I got myself another 10 points. And now I'm on to the back of the sheet. Another 30 minutes of reading. Here's my summary here. Analyzing author's craft. And so that's this one here. Author's craft looks at point of view, looks at changes, again, the point of view, any kind of elements or techniques that were used. And I really went back and looked. The point of view is third person. I really couldn't figure out whether it was limited or omniscient, but I decided that it was omniscient. You sometimes learn what characters are thinking, but usually you learn information from the dialogue and the characters' actions. There is very limited use of actually getting into the thoughts and feelings of the characters. So I put that down. And finally, this is my 5th one for the week. I have all my information there. Summary, I had a little bit more information with this one. We learned that Mr. Harrison's married when his wife arrives in town. Mrs. Lind goes to find out the stories. The whole town is going crazy with curiosity. And Anne gets the story from Mr. Harrison. Apparently, the story spread by Anne and Gilbert, got all the way to Mrs. Harrison, and she decided to reunite with him. So to me, that really started showing me theme. And so I wanted to analyze theme. What happens to the main characters? What do they learn? What hints does the title give you? What does the story tell you about people, values, or society? And what is the main message? And so I was thinking about this, and I realized, well, Anne seems to unwittingly help the other characters resolve their conflicts. I wonder if the theme has something to do with helping others or kindness. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to lose points because I don't have it right, but I just put my thoughts down. And so I still would get full credit, 5 points for the theme, 5 points for the summary, 10 points. And so you see there's 5 different sections there that I all filled out, 5 entries, 50 points, so I got 100%. If I would have read more and filled out more, then I would have gotten 70 out of 50 for the week. But without the parent signature, I would have only gotten 50 even if I read all of them. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at school, and I can help you with that. Otherwise, happy reading.